Move out by Monday. Your sister's twins need a bigger space. That was the whole text from my dad. No, hey, no, can we talk? Nothing. Just an order, like he was telling the bartender to change the channel. I read it standing behind the bar at my own place, wiping down pint glasses while the Sunday game played on mute. My 10-year-old daughter, Emma, was in the corner booth with her math workbook open, sneakers swinging, highlighter cap between her teeth. That house was the first place she'd ever called home after the divorce. Her room was the only room she'd ever really decorated. I stared at the text and felt my throat go tight. By Monday morning, there was a white Locksmith van in my driveway, exhaust steaming in the cold air. Emma sat in my truck at the curb, hugging her stuffed armadillo and watching. Inside, the locks were already changed. The deed was already in my name only. I'd done all that Sunday. Now my sister's husband was on my new front porch, red in the face, hand wrapped around the doorknob like he could rip it off. "This is our house," he shouted loud enough for the whole cul-de-sac to hear. "You're squatting, Kieran. Get your crap out here before I call the cops." He didn't know the neighbors had already called them. Not for me. For him. He didn't know about the paperwork I'd signed, or the quiet call with my lawyer where he'd asked, "They didn't know about any of this, right?" And I'd said, "Nope." And he didn't know my daughter was watching him through the truck windshield while he screamed about how his kids deserved a real home and mine could make do in an apartment. She heard every word. That was the part that broke something in me for good. I'm Kieran, 39, divorced, 1 kid. I own a small Irish-style pub outside Houston, the kind of place with sticky tables, mismatched bar stools, and regulars who tip in 20s after payday and in loose change the rest of the month. I work 6 nights a week. I come home smelling like beer and fryer grease and bleach. And for the last 6 years, I've paid 100% of the mortgage, taxes, and repairs on the 4-bedroom brick house my parents still call the family home. I was 33 when we bought it. Back then, we sounded nice. My dad came to the pub on a Tuesday afternoon, ordered a club soda because he was driving, and hit me with the pitch. "Your mother's stairs are killing her knees," he said. "Your sister's in that tiny rental with 2 babies. We need a place everyone can land. A family base." He already had listings printed. A 4-bed, 2.5 bath in a good school district, big yard, decent kitchen, way nicer than the apartment Emma and I were squeezing into after the divorce. "You buy it," he said, like it was a little thing. "We'll put our names on the deed so it's protected. We all pitch in. You get the master, your sister, and the twins get the upstairs. We'll stay in the old place most of the time, but we'll help with the note. It'll be an investment for Emma's future." He knew exactly which button to push. I did the math on a napkin. The mortgage would be around $2,100 a month with taxes and insurance. He said they'd cover at least $800, maybe more, once they rented their house out. My sister and her husband would kick in whatever they could at first. I'd handle the rest since you're the business owner now. I put down the whole $30,000 down payment from my savings. We closed with all 3 names on the deed, mine, my dad's, and my mom's. The first month, nobody else paid a dime. Then the second and third. By month 5, I was paying all of it. Mortgage, electric, water, lawn care, Wi-Fi, the whole thing pulled automatically from the same account I used for the pub. My dad's will help. We're just getting things sorted turned into. We're a little tight this month. We'll catch up. My sister's will contribute turned into. The twins needed new shoes and daycare raised rates. And every time I looked at my daughter asleep in her room with the glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling, I told myself it was fine. I could carry it. I was the one with the business. I'd manage. Emma loved the house. She picked the smallest bedroom and painted one wall soft teal. She taped up her own drawings with painter's tape so she wouldn't hurt the paint daddy. She planted 2 strawberry plants in the backyard and cried when one died in a heat wave. She called it our forever house. My parents called it the family asset. Big difference, I learned. The financial pattern started long before the house, if I'm honest. When my sister, Megan, got married, I paid for most of the rehearsal dinner. My parents meant to pay me back, but somehow never did. When their AC died one August, I put $4,500 on my credit card so they wouldn't bake in their own house. My mom cried on the phone, swore they'd send something every month. They sent 2 payments of $100 and then forgot. When my brother-in-law, Zach, lost yet another job, I covered their car payment just for this month, 4 months in a row, so they wouldn't lose the SUV that carried my nephews around. God will bless you for this, my mom always said, like that was as useful as cash. I picked up the tab for Sunday dinners more and more often. Groceries showed up mysteriously in their pantry when they were too proud to ask for help. I set up online bill pay for their utility accounts, so nothing got shut off. It was always just until we get back on our feet. Somehow, my feet were the only ones doing any walking. Through all of that, Emma stayed quiet and polite. She helped my mom chop carrots for stews. She played with her younger cousins even when they left her out. She drew my dad little cartoons of him fishing and left them on his fridge, even when he forgot to say thank you. And little things started to happen. Slights so small I could have brushed them off if they weren't always pointed at her. One Christmas, all the grandkids got big labeled stockings. Emma's had her name written in Sharpie on a grocery bag taped to the mantel. "Oh, we just didn't think you'd come this year," my mom said when my face fell. "You're always so busy with that bar." At Megan's twins' 7th birthday party, the boys had huge banners and custom t-shirts that said, "Birthday Kings." Emma handed them a homemade card with a drawing of all 3 of them wearing crowns. One of the boys laughed and said, "You don't live here. You're not in the club." They laughed. My parents laughed too. "They're just playing," my dad said. "Don't be so sensitive." That was the line they loved using on me. Sensitive, dramatic, overreacting. I swallowed it every time. Told myself I was being touchy. Told myself family isn't perfect. Told myself Emma just needed to be around them more and they'd warm up. Then this spring, everything boiled over and I finally saw it. They weren't warming up. They were getting bold. The text about moving out came on a Thursday. 4 words that should have meant a conversation. Move out by Monday. Under that, like he was doing me a favor, my dad added, "Your sister's twins need a bigger space." I stared at it for a full minute. My first thought was that it had to be some kind of sick joke. We'd just refinanced last year to a better rate. I'd paid every closing cost. All the paperwork had gone to my email, because I was the only one actually making the payments. My parents had signed where I told them to sign, complaining about how long it took. It hit me all at once. They still thought it was theirs. Not legally. Emotionally. They saw me as a tenant in a house they owned because their names were on a piece of paper. They saw Emma as a guest. I called my dad. He answered on the 2nd ring. "No hello. You get my message?" he asked. I did. I said my voice sounded weird even to me. "Explain it." He sighed like I was a stubborn customer at his old job. "Kieran, you know Megan's place is too small. They're growing boys, sharing that little room and bumping into each other. Zach's hours got cut again. They can't upgrade right now. Meanwhile, you're sitting in a 4-bedroom with just you and a kid who's at your bar more than she's home." He said kid like she didn't have a name. "You have 3 names on that deed," he went on. "Me, your mom, and you. That house is a family resource. Your sister's family needs it more. You can find an apartment. Those new ones by the freeway look nice." I heard my own heartbeat in my ears. "We'll give you a couple weeks if you need it," he added generously. "But they want to start moving things next weekend." The boys are excited. They already picked which room is whose. It'll be good for them. "What about Emma?" I asked. He paused for half a second. "She's a flexible kid. She'll adjust. Kids do." That was it. That was how much weight my kid's stability had in my parents' minds. Less than 2 excited twins. "I pay the entire mortgage," I said quietly. "You haven't put a cent toward that house in 6 years. You're the one who insisted on handling the payments," he snapped. "We help in other ways. We watch your girl. Mom cooks. We're there when you need us." They were there when they needed something. Not the same thing. "Monday," he repeated. "Don't make this harder than it has to be." We hung up with nothing settled. That night, Emma and I ate frozen pizza on the couch. She picked the olives off her slices and stacked them on mine. Like always, the house looked the same. Her teal wall, her glitter poster of some band I couldn't keep straight, the dent in the coffee table from where she dropped her science project last year. I watched her and thought, I am not ripping her out of here because my sister's husband can't hold a job. The next morning, I called a lawyer one of my regulars had recommended months ago, back when I joked about needing someone to untangle family investments. I hadn't meant it then. I did now. His name was Ortiz. Middle-aged, patient, all business. His office smelled like coffee and printer ink. We went through everything. The mortgage statements with only my name on them, the bank account that auto-drafted payments, funded only by my transfers from the pub, the emails from the refinance company addressed only to me, the text my dad sent. He read it twice. Then he leaned back in his chair. They didn't know any of this, right? He asked. That you've been paying everything? They know, I said. They just don't care. He shook his head, pinched the bridge of his nose. Legally, it's messy because their names are on the deed. But financially? You've got proof. A lot of it. He tapped the stack of statements. I can't promise you a magic wand, he said, but there are ways to protect yourself. Quitclaim deeds, ownership transfers. Do they even check their mail? Or is it all piled on a counter somewhere? I snorted. Counter. Under the junk. He shrugged. Then we move first. It felt grubby at first. Sneaky. But the more we talked, the more it felt like something else. Self-defense. We spent 2 hours filling out forms. Ortiz explained everything twice in plain English. He showed me where my parents had already signed certain things last year when we refinanced. Standard stuff, the banker had said. That gave me more control than they realized. By the time I walked out, my head was pounding. But the path was clear. On Sunday afternoon, while Emma watched a movie in the living room, I drove to the county recorder's office with a manila folder in my passenger seat. I signed. I initialed. I watched the clerk stamp the documents that put the house in my name only. Clean, simple, recorded. Driving home, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Not guilt. Not fear. Just solid. This was my house. Emma's house. Not a family resource to be shuffled around like a deck of cards. If this were a movie, my dad's text would have been the big scene. It wasn't. The real last straw moment came that same Sunday night over brisket and potato salad at my parents' place. They called it a family dinner. It felt like an ambush. Just come by, my mom had said. We'll talk it through like adults. Emma wanted to go. She'd drawn a picture that afternoon of the house, all of us standing out front. Me, her, my parents, her cousins. She'd even drawn my pub sign in the corner, a little shamrock over a beer mug. Maybe we can hang it on Grandma's fridge, she said. I should have said no. I should have taken it as a sign that nothing good happens at family meetings. But I went anyway. Habit, hope, stupidity. The dining room was already full when we walked in. Megan, Zach, the twins, my parents. Everyone but us. No extra chairs at the table. My dad cleared his throat the second we stepped into the room. Good, you're here, he said, like I was late for a shift. We were just talking logistics. Megan smiled too brightly. We figured it makes sense to move the boys' beds over next weekend, she said. That way they're settled before school starts. We'll leave Emma's stuff in boxes so you can take it when you find a place. Emma's hand tightened in mine. What? I asked. We'll paint her room, one twin piped up. It's too girly. We want it red. Everyone laughed. My mom waved a hand. It's just for now, honey, she told Emma. You'll have so much fun in an apartment. Lots of kids around. And you're here all the time anyway. We'll still see you. You'll keep a key, my dad added to me, so you can come by on weekends. It's not like we're throwing you out, Kieran. We're just reallocating. He was proud of that word, reallocating, like I was an unused office chair. Emma took a breath. But this is my house, she said. Her voice was so small I almost missed it. My room. My mom gave her a tight smile. Sweetheart, it's a family house. You've had your turn. Now it's your cousin's turn. They're 2 people. You're just one. Just one. She said it like Emma was a spare sock. Emma's shoulders dropped. She looked at me. There was shame in her eyes like she'd done something wrong by taking up space. I felt something in my chest twist. She held out the drawing she'd made. Grandma, I made this, she said. For the fridge. My mom barely glanced at it. Oh, just set it on the counter, she said. We've got a lot going on right now. Emma lowered her hand. The paper shook a little. I saw Megan's eyes flick from the drawing to the twins. She reached over, grabbed one of the boys in a side hug, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "You guys are going to have so much room soon. No more sharing with random people. Random people. My kid. I looked at my dad. He wouldn't meet my eyes. That was it. Not the years of payments. Not the AC bill. Not the night I paid their property taxes so they wouldn't lose their old house. That, my daughter learning at 10 years old that in her grandparents' eyes, she was just one, random, and expendable. My hands were shaking, but my voice came out steady. "We're done here," I said. My mom looked offended. "Don't be dramatic, Kieran. We're trying to make this work for everyone." "Everyone but her," I said. I squeezed Emma's hand. "Get your coat, Em," I said softly. "We're going home." We walked out. No one stopped us. On the drive back, Emma watched the street lights flick past. After a while, she asked, "Did I do something wrong?" I gripped the steering wheel harder. "No," I said. "You didn't do a single thing wrong." She nodded, but I could see she didn't believe me yet. That night, after she fell asleep under her glow-in-the-dark stars, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop. I canceled the automatic transfer that sent my parents $600 on the first of every month for bills. I deleted the online access I'd set up for their electric and water, so my card was no longer on file. I removed my name from their Amazon account. Then I booked a locksmith for Monday morning. Not out of spite, out of protection. Which brings us back to Monday. The locksmith, a quiet guy named Drake, showed up 5 minutes early in steel-toed boots, toolbox in hand. "You changing the cylinders?" he asked. "All of them," I said. "Front, back, garage, and the deadbolts. And I need new keys made. Just 2 copies." He nodded like he'd heard it all before. We were halfway through when Megan's SUV screeched up to the curb, music thumping through the doors. Zach jumped out before the engine stopped. "What is this?" he shouted, hauling himself up the front steps. "What are you doing to our house?" Drake glanced at me. I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. "It's my house," I said, "and I'm changing my locks." Zach laughed, that high, ugly laugh he has when he thinks someone's bluffing. "You kidding?" he said. "Your dad said we're moving in this weekend. You're out. You and your little bar brat." My stomach dropped. Emma was in the truck, a few yards away, window cracked. I could see her eyes. "Watch your mouth about my kid," I said. He took a step closer, chest puffed out. "What are you gonna do? Call your lawyer?" "You've got nothing T, Kieran. Deeds in your parents' names. They told us so. They said this was for us. Family, not some loser bartender in his charity case." It's a pub, I thought absently, but the words charity case hit worse. I saw Emma flinch in the truck. That's when the neighbor, Mrs. Alvarez, came out on her porch across the street. Older lady, floral robe over her pajamas, phone already in her hand. "You all right, mijo?" she called. I nodded. "We're good, Mrs. A." Zach grabbed the new doorknob and rattled it hard. "Open the door," he yelled, "or I swear to God I'll—" A squad car turned the corner, blue lights flashing. Mrs. Alvarez didn't even pretend it was an accident. She waved at them. Zach let go of the knob like it was hot. 2 officers got out. One older. "We got a call about a disturbance," the older one said. "Everything okay here?" "This man is trying to lock me out of my own house," Zach said immediately, jabbing a finger at me. "We're supposed to move in. That's my father-in-law's place. He's hijacking it." The older officer turned to me. "You live here?" "Yes, sir," I said. "Kieran Doyle. Been here 6 years. Mortgage is in my name. Deed's been updated. I've got ID and copies of the paperwork inside if you want to see them." The younger officer glanced at the locksmith van, at Emma in the truck, at Zach's clenched fists. "Sir, you're gonna need to step off the porch," he told Zach. "Now." Zach sputtered, but he backed down to the walkway, still shoving his phone in their faces. "My father-in-law owns this place," he insisted. "He told us—" "Your father-in-law isn't on scene," the older cop said. "And right now, the gentleman in front of me has occupancy and keys. That's what matters." They took statements. I showed my license, some mail, a printout Ortiz had made me of the latest deed. It wasn't a courtroom, but it was something. Zach got a warning about trespassing and disturbing the peace. "I'll remember this," he hissed at me as they walked him back to the SUV. "You can't hide behind your kid forever." Emma shrank back in her seat. I opened the truck door, crouched to look her in the eye. "Hey," I said softly. "Look at me." She did, eyes shiny. "Nothing he said is true," I told her. This is our home. I changed the locks so we're safe. Nobody is taking it from you. Not Grandpa, not Aunt Megan, not Uncle Zach. No one. She swallowed hard. But Grandma said, I know what Grandma said, I cut in gently. She's wrong. She searched my face like she was testing every word against something inside her. Are we in trouble? She asked. No, I said. We're done being in trouble for other people's bad choices. Drake finished the locks. I paid in cash. He handed me 2 keys on a plain silver ring. You did the right thing, he said quietly before he left. I've seen this go the other way too many times. By noon, my parents started calling. I didn't pick up. The fallout came in waves. First, the anger. How dare you, my mother texted. We opened our hearts and our home to you, and this is how you repay us. I stared at that one for a long time. Their home, the one I paid for. My dad followed with, lawyer? Really? Over family. You're not thinking straight. We'll be by tonight to talk. I replied to him. Once. Do not come to my house uninvited, I wrote. You are not on the deed. You are not on the mortgage. You do not live here. This is Emma's home. You tried to take it from her. We're done. His answer, you're letting that kid control you. She won't even remember this. I blocked his number. Next came Megan. You've ruined everything, she wrote. We already told the boys they were getting their own rooms. They're devastated. You made Mom cry. You're choosing a house over family. I typed and deleted about 6 replies. In the end, I sent one line, I'm choosing my child over people who treat her like furniture. She didn't respond to that. Then the guilt trip visit started. Wednesday night, someone pounded on the door. Emma froze mid-homework. The porch camera pinged my phone. My parents on the porch. My mom holding a casserole dish like a prop. I cracked the door with the chain on. We came to talk, my mom said, trying to look past me into the house. This has gone too far. It went too far when you told Emma she was just 1 and didn't deserve a room, I said. She flinched. Just a little. That's not what I meant, she said. You know how I talk. You're twisting it. My dad pushed forward. You can undo this, son, he said. We'll forget the lawyer stunt. You transfer the deed back. We go to family therapy or whatever. Your sister's family moves in. You find a place nearby. And we call it even. Even. Like we were settling a bar tab. I'm not your bank, I said. I'm not your landlord. I'm not uprooting my kid to fix choices she didn't make. You're being vindictive, my dad snapped. All because you couldn't handle sharing. Dad, I said quietly, I've been sharing since the day we signed those papers. I shared my down payment. I shared my income. I shared my time. I shared my kid. And somehow, none of that ever counted. My mom's eyes filled, but not in the way that meant she'd really heard me. This is about that girl's attitude, isn't it? She said. She's always been so sensitive. You let her disrespect her elders, and now look where we are. That girl. I closed the door until the chain went taut. You don't get to talk about her like that in her house, I said. Take the chain off, my dad barked. We're your parents. We have a right. No, you don't, I interrupted. Not anymore. I shut the door. They stayed on the porch for a few minutes. My mom cried loud enough for the neighbors to hear. My dad knocked again, then finally stomped away. Emma stood at the hallway corner, half hidden behind the wall. I thought Grandma made casseroles when people were sick, she said. I exhaled. Sometimes she makes them when she wants something too. We ate leftover tacos instead. Over the next few weeks, the silence from their side settled into something almost peaceful. The only family member who reached out and didn't try to manipulate me was my Aunt Rosa, my mom's older sister who lives in San Antonio. She called one night after closing when I was sweeping peanut shells off the floor. Your mama's been telling everyone you lost your mind, she said. So I figured I'd ask you directly. I told her everything. The deed, the text, the dinner, the just one. When I finished, there was a long pause. About time, she said. You've been carrying them since you were 20. I watched it. I kept my mouth shut too long. I sat down hard on a bar stool. You don't think I went too far? I asked. No, she said. I think you finally walked the distance they pushed you. That's different. She lowered her voice. For what it's worth, Some of the cousins are on your side, she added. They saw that family tree your folks made. You know it doesn't have Emma's name on it? I didn't know. I wasn't surprised. We're doing our own thing for Thanksgiving this year, she said. If you and your girl want to come to San Antonio, there's a seat for you. Oh, there's a room. I swallowed. Thanks, Tia. Emma cleaned a shelf behind the bar while I talked. When I hung up, she asked, Do we still have a family? Yeah, I said. We're just figuring out who actually counts. Life moved on. I kept working the pub. Emma went to school, did her homework in booth 3 most afternoons. The house felt different, quieter without the constant threat of someone deciding it wasn't ours. The old routines died one by one. No more Sunday dinners at my parents' place. No more surprise visits from Megan just to see the boys' future rooms. No more random texts asking for money until Friday. My bank account was still tight. Pubs aren't gold mines. But for the first time in years, I could see the numbers move in the right direction. In October, I finally replaced the broken dishwasher we'd been hand-washing around for months. Emma helped pick it out. Get the one that's quiet, she said, reading the little labels in the store, so we can still hear the TV. We installed it together, cursing the manual, and laughing when we realized we'd put one of the racks in backwards. Little, stupid things that felt huge. I thought that was the end of it. Then, 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, my mom showed up at the pub. She picked a slow afternoon. When the lunch crowd had gone and the regulars hadn't started trickling in yet, she slid onto a bar stool like any other customer. I almost didn't recognize her at first. She looked smaller, tired. Kieran, she said. Mom, I answered. I set down the glass I was drying. She didn't order anything. I drove by the house, she said. The mums on the porch look nice. Emma picked them, I said. She nodded, eyes shining. She's grown so much, she said. I see pictures on Facebook. Rosa posts them. The name Rosa came out tight. I waited. We're doing Thanksgiving at your sister's apartment this year, she said finally. It's cramped. The boys are upset. They don't understand why they can't be in their house. It's not their house, I said. You know that. She stared at the scratched bar top. Your father's been difficult, she said. He's angry, says you betrayed him, says you turned his own tools against him. But he misses you. He misses Emma. She looked up at me. So do I. I believed the last part. I'm not sure about the rest. You hurt her, I said quietly. You know that, right? Not just with the house. The names. The tree. The way you talked about her like she was. Temporary. My mom winced. I didn't realize, she whispered. You did, I said. You just didn't care enough to stop. She flinched again. We sat in silence for a minute. I'm not here to ask for the house back, she said finally. I know that's gone. I know you're not sending money anymore. I know I lost that. I wondered if we could at least see her for the holidays. Maybe Christmas? I'll pretend nothing happened. We'll move on. That was the problem. Pretend nothing happened. Move on. Leave it all where it fell, on my kid's shoulders. I wiped a spot on the bar that was already clean. I'm not banning you from her life, I said slowly. If you want a relationship with her, you're going to have to build it, from scratch, without tearing her down, and not in front of people who still think she's just one. My mom blinked hard. I don't know what that means, she said. It means, I said, I'm not bringing her into rooms where she's humiliated. I'm not handing over money to people who treat her like an afterthought, and I'm not pretending she's okay so you can feel like good grandparents. She looked like I'd slapped her, though my hands stayed flat on the bar. So that's it? She asked. You cut us off? I cut off funding, I said. I cut off access to my house. I cut off the habit of letting you use Emma's love for you as leverage. If you want to fix anything else, you know where we live. But you'll come with apologies, not casseroles. And you'll talk to her like she matters. She nodded slowly. I don't know if your father can do that, she said. Then he doesn't see her, I said. She stared at me for a long moment, then slid off the stool. You sound like a stranger, she said. No, I answered. I finally sound like her dad. She left without saying goodbye. I watched her cross the parking lot, climb into her car, and drive away. I felt sad. Of course I did. But under that was something else. Relief. We did Thanksgiving in San Antonio that year. Rosa's house was full of noise and food and the kind of chaos that doesn't feel like you're being measured against a scorecard. Emma played Mario Kart with second cousins she barely knew. They fought over who got to be Luigi and solved it themselves. At dinner, Rosa made a point of saying, "I'm thankful Kieran took care of his parents for so long. I'm more thankful he decided to take care of himself and Emma now." No one disagreed. There were 2 empty chairs at the end of the table. Rosa had set name cards there anyway. Mom and Dad. She didn't say anything about them. She didn't have to. On the drive home, Emma fell asleep in the back seat clutching a paper turkey hat she'd made with Rosa's granddaughter. We pulled into our driveway after dark. The porch light clicked on, shining on the mums Emma had picked, and the little wooden sign she'd painted that said "The Doyle House" in crooked letters. Inside, the house felt warm. Emma woke up enough to stumble to her room and crawl into bed. I tucked her in, turned on her starlights, and was about to leave when she pushed herself up on one elbow. "Daddy," she mumbled. "Yeah, Bug? Are Grandma and Grandpa still mad?" I thought about my mom at the bar, my dad's silence, Megan's texts. The years of being a walking wallet. "I don't know," I said honestly. "They might be." She nodded, eyes heavy. "Are you mad?" she asked. "I'm done." She relaxed a little at that. "Okay," she said. "I like it better when it's just us anyway." She flopped back down and was asleep before I could answer. I stood there for a minute, watching her breathe. Then I picked up the drawing she'd taped to her wall a few days earlier. This one was of the house again, just me and her out front. No grandparents, no cousins, no extra people. She'd drawn 2 empty chairs on the porch. When I asked her about them earlier, she'd shrugged. "In case anybody wants to be nice later," she'd said. I left the drawing where it was. Later that week, I took down the last of my parents' old framed photos from the hallway, the ones where Emma was either cropped out or standing at the edge. I replaced them with pictures of us at the beach, at the pub's Halloween party, at Rosa's house, at the park. I framed one of Emma behind the bar, after hours, holding a root beer with both hands, grinning. On Christmas Eve, the pub was closed. Just me, Emma, and a couple of employees who didn't have anywhere else to be. We dragged in a scrappy tree from the discount lot and set it up near the jukebox. "First annual Doyle Christmas," one of my bartenders joked, hanging a beer bottle cap ornament. Emma made paper snowflakes and taped them to the windows. She danced on the empty dance floor to Mariah Carey songs and didn't once look at the door like she was waiting for someone else to walk in. I set 2 empty stools at the end of the bar. I didn't text my parents an invite. I didn't check my phone for apologies that weren't coming. I just poured hot chocolate into pint glasses and toasted with my kid. "To us," I said. Emma clinked her glass against mine. "To us," she echoed. "And to our house. Nobody's taking it." "Wow, right," I said. She giggled like I'd said a secret bad word. Later that night, after she fell asleep on the couch, I locked up the pub and turned off the lights. Driving home, I glanced in the rearview mirror at her sleeping face and the faint reflection of our little house up ahead. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was heading somewhere that could be yanked away on someone else's whim. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't a victory. It was just ours, and that was enough.